Good afternoon. I just want to start by thanking you all for coming out on a very, very hot day. It is very, very appreciated. And I'm very grateful to see so many familiar faces, as well as so many Girl Scouts. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Todd Delaney, and I am the proud father of a Girl Scout cadet, Una Delaney. She's one of the reasons why I was inspired to put this together. In addition to, she's a cadet in Troop 30061, right up here. And I'd also like to thank everyone from every troop that came out. I know we have troops from 40057, 30009, 40328, 13386, 40036, and 2164. Thank you very much. As the name on the program implies, we are here to recognize heroes from the civil rights movement of the 1960s. On the stage today will be three of those heroes. There were many heroes of that era, and if you were in the audience for our awards last night at the Juneteenth Memorial, you would have heard that we presented them with medals of freedom for their role in the civil rights era. And if I could, thank you. I'm not sure if any are in the audience, but it is worth recognizing each and every one of these. We had Queen Gales, Calvin Snuggs, Tommy McMaster, Eldora Allen, Brenda Goldston, Melvin Marley, Elvin Marley, Dexter Trogdon, Clara Johnson, Daisy Tomlin, Penny Bennett, Percy Schaffner, Robert Bostick, and we also had a couple of bonus heroes with Harold Anderson and Charles Fair, in addition to the three women who will be here this afternoon. And if I could take just a moment to tell you how this came about, it'll help explain things maybe a little. At the Martin Luther King Day breakfast in January, it is an annual event, fantastic event. If you get a chance to go, please do. At that event, my friend Chip Faust, who is president of the NAACP, asks anyone at that breakfast who were part of the civil rights movement to stand. It is very moving. But every year there are fewer and fewer heroes standing. We were lucky enough to have Una at that event, and I thought that it would be wonderful if all of her Girl Scout sisters could not just see these heroes, but hear their stories. And as it happened, my friend Owen George asked me, or told me that the signature series for the Friends of the Library had an opening in June for an event at the Sunset Theater. And I thought, what a wonderful idea it would be if we could bring these heroes and their stories to the sunset on a nice, cool June day. And here we are. It came together very well. I approached our troop leaders, Miss Becky and Miss Lisa, who embraced this enthusiastically. The entire troop has been wonderful. And first I have to apologize. It's very likely I'm going to get choked up during this. I am so dehydrated that I will not cry, but I will be choked up, so be forewarned. And without further ado, let me bring our heroes out that you will be hearing more from. So if I could please introduce you to Betty Faust.
Good afternoon. Some of you may already know, I came to Asheboro in '64, so the marches were already over. Unfortunately, there was still quite a bit of racism. My husband was one of the was the first black student to graduate from Randolph Community College in photography. Actually, it was the first class. He was trained by multiple corporations, Kodak, Polaroid, Bell and Howell, and all that, but we still faced quite a few obstacles. When we finally found a building in downtown Asheboro, it took us over a year because we got all kinds of excuses that people could not rent to us. And finally, one, I think it was an attorney, said, well, we just can't rent to Negroes. But finally we did, after much trying, we did get a building downtown, and it didn't stop there because we had to clean human and animal waste to get into the building. People called and harassed us. We had all kinds of problems. But by and large, there's always a light. So that's one thing I want to tell you all about today, because there was a lady here who was a Girl Scout teacher. Some of you may have known her, Audrey Beck. She had the first Girl Scout that was black children were allowed to join. So she took 4 little girls. She loved them, nurtured them, encouraged them. She did, I would say, what a mother would do. And all 4 of those girls right now are very successful, and they attribute quite a bit of their success to the love and concern that Ms. Beck gave them, and plus the training from Girl Scouts. So you Girl Scouts, I want to encourage you. You have your Girl Scout pledge, and you have the Girl Scout laws. You have an opportunity to be a light in some dark places. You'll always remember that. I think it was Martin Luther King that said, dark cannot fade dark, but light, it takes light to do it. And so I'm looking at each one, and all these young people out here, it's really encouraging to me to see how much light we could have and how much light we already do have. Thank you.
Next, we have Jane Ledwell-Gant.
Good afternoon, and thank each of you for coming out. And for the Girl Scouts of today and for the future, hang in there. We all have a tough road ahead. I grew up here in Randolph County. And for the first 9 years of school, I attended what was considered Central High School or Central Elementary, which was over on the east side, and it was an all-black school. When we entered the 10th grade, the first shock that we had to get accustomed to was the fact our school had been shut down completely. All of our teachers were not re-employed in the Randolph school system. In fact, I think at the time there was only one, and that was our football coach. So you had a portion of kids here that grew up on the east side. We were family. And all of a sudden, we were introduced to Asheboro High School, a school that definitely didn't want us. It was obvious through the teachers. It was obvious through the treatments we encountered. I attended Asheboro High School for 6 months because I had promised my parents I'm going to college. And within 6 months of being at Asheboro High School and the lack of support from teachers and instructors, and at the time, because I wanted to stay with my friends that were here in the city, so I stayed with a relative here to go to Asheboro High School. But by March of that year, I went to my parents and I said, if I don't come home and get into a smaller school environment, I'm not going to get in college. I can't get past a B or C at Asheboro High School when I was a straight A at Central. It was tough. It was tough watching so many of my classmates just quit. I would say during the first year we were at Asheboro High School, probably 15% of the students that came over from Central just dropped out and said, I can't do it. So I'm here to encourage everyone. Let's be a nation of people that are together. I did end up graduating from Asheboro High School. I spent a year with Randolph Community College in a nursing program. And at that point, not only the school systems, but the industries here. In most black environments, if you were here in Asheboro in 1965, you had two choices. You either become a school teacher or a nurse, and neither one of those interests me. So what I did, I went north for 35 years. There, I completed my education, I got my business degree, and I worked in corporate America for another 30-some years. I returned here in 2000, and I've had people to say to me, do you see a lot of difference? Not from 69 when I left from here. It is time we embrace our neighbors. It is time we encourage our kids. Don't look at color, look at the heart, okay? Because I have met so many wonderful people coming back here. Not of my race, even when I ran for Senate and County Commissioner. I had so much support from this community, including the white community. I would not have done it if it wasn't for them pushing me. So any questions you have afterwards for me, I'm more than willing to answer. But again, that old saying, there's no place like home, there really is no place like home. But home is what you make it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shane. Next, we have Ms. Katie Stiles.
Well, good afternoon again, and thank you, Girl Scouts, for coming to listen to us today. My name is Katie Snubbs. I just say I came to Asheboro at the age of 9 years old, and I am 89 years old now. I did not go to an integrated school. I went to Randolph County Training School, which was later named Central High School. That's where I graduated from, and I attended A&T State University for a couple of years, and I had a sister who had children, and she was murdered, and I came home to raise her 3 boys for her. I worked for the city of Asheboro for 23 years and 9 months. After retiring from the city of Asheboro, I ran for city council, and I was a city council member for the city of Asheboro for 6 years. When I came to Asheboro, it was terrible. I can remember we did not have a car, and my father was a sawmill worker, and my mother worked for many of the families here in Asheboro. Cooking and babysitting, and we would walk to town. When we had to go to town, we'd go to B.C. Moore's. That was one of our favorite stores here in town. And I can remember one Saturday we was walking to the, uptown to B.C. Moore's, and a car came by with a bunch of white guys in it, and they threw rocks at us and called us all kind of names. And me being the big mouth that I am, they said stuff to me and I said stuff back to them and picked up rocks and threw at the car, and the car was just going. I'm still throwing rocks, It has somewhat better in Asheboro. It's a lot better than it was when I came to Asheboro, but we still have a long way to go. We still have a fight ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies. We're going to hear more of their stories next in a very special mini documentary that we made at the George Washington Carver Center with these women in conversation. Next, we have the film, Voices That Shape Us, Growing Up in the Jim Crow South. I hope you enjoy it.
When I was little, I don't remember wanting to be anything other than being my daddy's baby. Whatever he wanted, that's exactly what I wanted. He was quite a character.
And I wanted to be a nurse.
And I wanted to be a boy. I had 3 brothers. Luckily, my mom forced them to take me wherever they went. I got a lot of bruises behind those boys. But I hated the fact that I had to put on those little ruffle socks and those dresses, and the boys could have their jeans and stuff on.
The shoes.
Everything the boys did was something I enjoyed. I enjoyed touch football. I enjoyed riding horses and just doing all the boy type things. But because of living in the county, I didn't go to kindergarten, so learning my ABCs and learning to write, I did it with my brother at night. He would always do a homework assignment for me, write my name, my numbers. My brother James, who finally, when I came back here, his wife passed, and he lived with me up until he died. He bought me my first car when I was 15 years old. He was the biggest promoter of me. I will admit, I was a little hard-headed. Mom might say be home by 11, I might show up at 12. But if my brother ran into me out and he'd go, it's 11 o'clock, did Mom tell you to be home by 11? He didn't have to say it twice. The respect I had for him was unbelievable.
Well, I always call my daddy the rebel with a cause, because he was definitely against systemic racism. And he did everything he could to protect us. He did not let us ride the public buses. He either had to take us in his car or we had to walk. We did not go downtown and go to the stores, because he would throw the Sears catalog at you. To get whatever you needed, get it out of that catalog, because you're not going down there to the black and white, the colored and white fountains and the colored and white bathrooms. You're just not going down there. And so when we were very small, he moved us to New Jersey, and he made sure that we went to the best schools. Sometimes we had to walk past the school in the neighborhood to get to the school that he had researched and knew it was a better school. And there was no question about going, how far you were going, whether you were going to go to college or anything. That it was just a given. He always told me there was nothing that I could not do. He would say, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And I know that a lot of black people were telling their children, you don't look. It's just disrespectful to look at a white person in the eye. And Daddy says, you don't look down on nobody, you don't look up to them, you just look at them straight in the eye and tell them how you feel. So that's been pretty much my philosophy in life, is to.
That's the way my mother was.
And if you want it bad enough, you can do it.
You know, I think that was a glue that held so many black families together. Because the world outside might treat you differently, but when you walked through your doors, you knew you were safe.
Mm-hmm.
You knew
was loved.
And you knew you were loved.
A lady by the name of Mamie Williams got me started in church with
singing in the choir, and also she got me into politics. She would talk to us about voting, and we would go street to street telling people about the vote. She got us started on that. She was stern, but she meant what she said, and she told you she was going to do something, she done it. The way things were in Asheboro at that time, if I had not had my church and my church family, I don't know what would have happened to me. After a hard week and all the things that happened in the communities, it was just something that seemed like just gave you that push that you needed to go another week.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I'm tired, I'm weak, and I'm worn. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me on. And when the day grows weary, precious Lord, linger near. It's a very encouraging,
Uplifting.
uplifting and encouraging song.
And I would say it's a song that we all can relate to, because that's probably been the backbone of most of us, trusting in God that God's going to see you through it. God is always going to see you through it.
Yes. No matter what happened all week, you knew you were going to see your friends. You knew you were going to get an encouraging word. It was just very special.
School was wonderful for me, especially when we were an all-black school. Teachers knew us. I would say the first 9 years of my life at Central, I really thought I was a brain. And then came 1965, and my world turned upside down. Central School was closed. And then I walked into Asheboro High School, and God helped me. I never felt so lost in my life. There was prejudice from the day the black kids walked into that school. There was no attention paid to us. I became very angry, very progressive, not taking nothing from anyone.
And I never got to go to Asheboro High School because the school was still segregated when I graduated. So I graduated from Central High School. I didn't go through these things that Jane went through. And when I got to A&T, I had to pay to take trigonometry and algebra. And the instructor just said, well, why didn't you take it? You didn't want to take it, you tried to get out of not taking it. I said, no, they didn't offer it. I couldn't take it, didn't have it.
When I moved back to North Carolina my senior year, I went to a little small school out in Brown Summit, and it was segregated, but those teachers were phenomenal. And so I was able to get into Bennett and I was able to do the courses that I really wanted to pursue because I had somebody encouraging me.
I overheard a couple of the students talking about the SATs. And I go, I need to take that if I'm going to college. So I go to the school counselor and I go, Miss Simon, I overheard talking about SATs and how I'll do it. She says, her word to me, I didn't think any of you, I don't know if she said black or minority, kids were interested in college. And I finally said to her, yes, I do intend to go. And is there any way I can get in? She said, well, that particular SAT class is closed. I said, well, then you need to help me take the SAT somewhere. So she did do that. And afterwards, I go back to Miss Almond, all right? I've got my SATs. And I'm asking her, can you get me information on A&T, Winston-Salem State, Fayetteville State? She goes, I'm not familiar with those schools. I'll put you to work. So I said, Miss Alma, if it's possible, could you look up some information on those schools and provide that with me? And I will admit, this was 1965 through 68. It was a change for everyone. No, she had never had to look into a black school before because it was all white. But the bottom line, we weren't prepared for what we were getting. They weren't prepared for what we were going to be asking for. But at that stage in my life, it was like, okay, I'm not going to be left out. I'm not going to be left out.
I am the oldest of 12 children. And I was determined that I was going to do something with my life. I just wasn't going to walk the streets of Asheboro and not do something. And so that's why I decided to go to A&T. But I had to, my sister got killed and had 3 children. And so I quit school to take care of them. And I raised her 3 children. I worked for different families here in Asheboro. And I was able to get a job with the city of Asheboro. And that's where I worked for 23 years. And I also raised my sister's 3 children.
The cities in Greensboro at the Woolworths store started back in February of 1960. And I didn't get to Greensboro until
Student A&T then.
August of 1960. So by the time I was involved in it, it was well organized. But it was not just just a bunch of people coming together. It was not just impromptu thing. And I think that any advances that we make now, it's going to take planning and it's going to take commitment. That's the thing that frightens me now, is that we don't seem to have enough people committed to go in and do the right thing and to stick with it. You can start out with 50 people today, and tomorrow you might not have but 2, and you will not accomplish your goals unless you have a buy-in to it. But I promise you, I never got locked up, but I did march. But it was so much unity and determination.
Well, I went to jail. Yes, sir, I went to Randolph County Jail. Woo! And I don't see why nobody wanted to go to jail. It wasn't fun. I don't know. I just have mixed feelings about that. I know that you're supposed to march and you can call you anything, you can't say anything. But when old man Hop got in my face and pointed his finger, it was all I could do not to hit that man. I'm telling the truth. I mean, I really wanted to just go crazy, but I knew that was not the right thing to do, but that's what I wanted to do. And I did go to jail. I did not use my name. I used my sister's name because nobody knew my sister because she lived in a place called Norwood, North Carolina with my uncle. And my mother was working for a white family here. And I felt that my mother would have gotten fired if they had seen my name in the paper. So I used my sister's name. And then on that Sunday morning, here comes this man and his wife gonna tell us about how wrong we were. And I said, we are wrong for trying to eat? You know, I said, what's wrong? What's going there to try to eat? I said, it's not right to keep us from not going in there because we are black. We're not gonna go in there and act up. We're gonna go in there and eat, pay for our food and come on out. But then we started singing, and so they finally left because the more they talked, the louder we were singing. And I let everybody, we had some people from South City that was there with us. I let everybody get out of jail because I was the last person because I knew somebody was gonna come and get me because they did, they're gonna hear from Martha Jane. Mama would have, it would have been terrible. But anyway, Chester Crowder, who is deceased now, he got me out of jail. And I got at the church just about time they was getting ready to start the service. Yeah, but I went to jail. I sure did. And I'd go again if I had to.
I was 12 years old when I marched. I did not go to jail. My sister did. God forbid. It was like, how could she get her name in the paper? But what made me so proud the night I marched, and I marched with my sister, my parents did not know, was what I expected from the young black men here from the east side. Because as we were marching up Sunset, it was called everything, eggs were being thrown, and I was like, those boys are going to turn this place out. I was so proud to see them march. We had good training down at St. John's. What to do, what not to do, like when Hops was gonna throw Clorox on, cover your face. Do not volunteer to walk to get in the police car. Make them pick you up and carry you. But a couple of these restaurants, what people didn't know, the people working in the kitchen were black. And what would happen, you couldn't go through the front, go around to the back and go, oh, put 2 hamburgers on her bun. They'll never know the difference. We knew the places to go to. You give her an extra set of fries, because they had to sell it out the back door. I used to tell people, don't bother with Hops, go here, go here. If so-and-so, what was it, the Hoskin boys, I think, were, if they're there, hey, all they gotta do is see your face, they're gonna give you double for what you're paying for. Oh, okay, so I had to pick up at the back door. Okay, not a big deal. But the thought was the whole purpose.
And what bothered me, one thing that bothered me about Hops, he would see some of the guys that work for the city, and he would see some guys, women that worked for somebody that he knew. He would point the hand at them and say, I know that N, use the N word. He worked for the city, I'm gonna get him fired. Or I know her, I know who she worked for, I'm gonna get her fired. That's what he done.
A lot of the blacks did lose their jobs. There was a cleaner right here on, what is it, Scarborough Street and back up?
Yes, Scarborough.
Yeah. They were told that they marched, they were fired. He fired a group of them there at the cleaners because they marched. So, as I say to people, sign of the times.
But I'm gonna say one thing. I will go to my grave not understanding this. If I am good enough to come to your house and clean your house, cook your food, and take care of your precious little baby, and you don't want to sit down and eat with me? Come on, something's wrong with that picture. I mean, something is wrong. That is one thing that I just cannot get over. That's something that I will go to my grave not understanding. If I don't want to sit down and eat with you, I'm not going to have you in my house, and I'm surely not going to have you take care of my baby. It just brings tears to my eyes. I mean, you can hate me that much because my skin is brown.
I pray for change. I pray for change when people are treated equally, regardless of the color of their skin. I resent someone saying, I don't see color. We all see color. It's how we perceive that color and how we react to it. I respect you for who you are. And that's the world I'd like to see my son today, that I admire, the world he lives in. And he's married, he's got this 3-year-old. And I'm at the sink and I'm trying to tell Mike about this white man. And Darius, he touches me, he looks up to me, he goes, Grandma, what's a white man? And my son looks at me, he goes, Mom, see? He doesn't know. Because of the environment he's raising his child in right now. His neighborhood could be the meeting of the UN. And I love that, because that's what our kids need to see each other for who they are, not what they look like. They connect with everyone. That we couldn't do. I couldn't do that at my grandson's age, because there was a division. We couldn't go to Memorial Park, we couldn't go to the pool, we couldn't go to the movies. You almost had to form your own little social group, because those places were off limits to you. And I think about sometimes, how great it would have been. What if I had gone to the Memorial Pool when I was 12 years old? You know, I think, and sometimes you think about that, because it was there then, I think. Yes, it was there. But, you know, I just pray for a better world, a more understanding world, a more compassionate world is what I look for today. So there is hope.
There is,
There is hope.
definitely.
Well, I would like to say something to the Girl Scouts, because I was a Girl Scout and I really enjoyed it. And I know that they encourage you to think for yourself and to read and to broaden your horizons and everything. And I think that's what it's going to take, because I think it's narrow minds that has created so much prejudice and so much division and what have you. So I would love to encourage all the Girl Scouts, and knowing that if you're interested in being a Girl Scout and you are a Girl Scout, most likely your heart is in it. I've never seen anybody in Girl Scouts that wasn't excited. I mean, who else is going to go out and sell cookies? Mom and Dad. So yeah. So I really feel that the Girl Scouts individually can make wonderful differences. The thing is to think for yourself, which is what my dad always taught me. Think for yourself. If it's right or if it's wrong, think for yourself.